Hello, everybody.
Hey, folks, how are you
Hey,
doing?
yes, it is Wednesday. I know it feels like a Friday, or maybe a Monday. It is one of those very strange weeks where
Fridays and day.
what is time? What is time? But according to our calendars, it is in fact still Wednesday.
It has been Wednesday throughout the day. Welcome. All are welcome here.
I know, Naomi. Look, new headsets, 2 cam setup. One of these days it'll stop being winter.
It will never stop being winter.
We're building new layouts. They're just not done yet because I am a perfectionist and I want them to be perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. But so, and Matt is very good, but I'm very exacting. I must have all the right vibes.
Happy Pride, folks.
Happy Pride, everybody. Good evening.
Also,
Good
if you celebrate this month as Gay Wrath Month, fucking go forth, my friends.
Gay Wrath. Yes. You know, you can have Pride this month, and then next month you can have Wrath, and then you can have Wrath, and then you can have some more Wrath, and we can just have a whole lot of Wrath until we have more Pride.
And eventually the logo is just fuckers in beautiful rainbow font.
Of course you're holding out for lust, Naomi. Of course you are. Let us save gluttony for November and December, the traditional months of gluttony. Yes.
No, I want it now. Meta.
Really?
I thought that was quite good. That was off the top of my head.
Okay.
I love that I can literally see you. I am looking at a camera with your beautiful face on it, and I keep turning around to talk to you. I love that for me.
Now look at me. Now back to the camera.
Now look at me.
Right? Exactly. Surely we do deserve gay gluttony. Absolutely, Zoya. Everybody deserves gay gluttony.
Honestly, I'm pushing for one day of the week. Just, go all out. Fuck it Friday. Don't bother coming into work. Don't do anything. Eat some fucking cake. Let's go, man.
Well, that certainly sounds like our Fridays.
Yes, in a parallel universe where we don't work 4 jobs.
Yeah, I know. But such is life. Hey, why don't you tell people who we are and what do we do on the stream?
Hello, everybody.
Because, if anybody's brand new, they might be terribly confused about what on earth is going on right now.
Fuck is this? If that is your instinct, welcome to the show. My name is Alasdair.
Oh, sorry, I missed my cue. I'll come back in again.
Busy flying the ship? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, fine.
My name is Alasdair.
And I'm Marguerite.
And this is our Wednesday night stream. Sunday, we do this nice, relaxed morning to lunchtime stream where we play a video game and in a lot of cases jump into lava at the moment. It's really good fun. And this is a little bit more varied. We do 3 things here. Well, 4. You're listening to the first one at the moment, which is... I'm sorry, what was that?
Nothing.
I'm sorry, what?
No. I have no notes. You may continue.
Very well. We do 4 things here on the show.
We do a lot of things on the show. And, yes.
Oh, no notes aside from that one. Okay, good.
You may proceed, sir.
We do 4 things on this show. You're listening to the first one at the moment, which is what is technically known, and I believe may actually be in our official documentation, some bullshit.
Yeah, I think, as in, this is some bullshit.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you will hear us good-naturedly banter for some considerable time and talk about stuff. It'll be great.
It's like the opening monologue before the opening monologue.
It's the pre-opening monologue.
Get a drink. It's the pre monologue.
Yes. It's like the after party, but this.
It's the opening monologue at the beginning of Saturday Night Live if they didn't give the person a script.
Yes. And in some cases, I'll bet they wish they hadn't. Let's move on.
Very much so.
Our opening monologue is almost always provided by our very own house band, the magnificent Mr. Nate Crowley, two-fisted writer, magnificent games journalist, and all-around deeply lovely human, and occasionally dead Roman, usually during the month of October.
Yep.
Then we will go into what is sometimes playing a game, and we note with interest that our friends at Black Tabby Games are trailing an announcement imminently for their Not Scarlet Hollow game.
Which
yes,
we're very
please.
About. And there's a lot of new games that we've heard about that have come out lately. So we might take a break from spooky content to do some games.
Which would themselves be of the spoops.
One of them is called Silt, which looks like Limbo under the ocean. Yes. So that won't be stressful in the slightest.
There's also things like I I believe it's called Kind Leviathans, which is currently only in alpha. But the folks at Chinese Room who did the fantastic Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Dear Esther are talking a lot about this. And it's a game where you stumble through a post-apocalyptic England and try and rescue people from beneath the vast behemoths of strange alien life that have conquered the country.
You need to lean back just a little tiny bit so everybody can take a look at what on earth is going on with your t-shirt. It's the Plain White Void from last week tonight. Has it been a busy week, John? Yes, exactly. We actually bought the t-shirt because that's the kind of nerds we are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we might play some games, and I have it written down that the Boyfriend Dungeon expansion is out June 11th.
Going to the dungeon.
Go to the dungeon. And I've already played that game, so I could totally play that game again. That would be fine.
And also, just to be clear, one of the two potential partners in the DLC is the enormous, super chill surfer dude who turns into an axe.
Hello. Hello, my personal brand. How are you? Hello. Yes, you're very cute. I love you.
So yeah, we do that. We do an opening monologue, and then we'll do the spoops. It's another Emma James story this week, and it's another very good one. And then just to ensure that we're not sending you to bed with nightmare fuel, then
any more than life is, right?
Any more than any given day we are awake in 2022 is doing so. We'll finish off with something funny and weird.
Yes, exactly, because we are both funny and weird.
Yes,
and unlike everybody else, Pride Month, we're going to start Pride Month right with some fun, spooky stuff. So
yes, we are.
Yes. Shall we do an opening monologue, or what's new with us this week? It's been a short week, but we've done as much work as a normal week, and then we have all sorts of other kinds of work, some fun, some work.
Yeah, you should have seen us both at about 6 o'clock. We were both like,
yeah, we both hit the. I'm gonna sit in a cooler room with a glass of water for half an hour kind of stage.
Having genuinely successfully done a week's worth of work in 72 hours.
I mean, who's surprised? Bluntly.
And still got good chunks of the full lid to write, but I also received a new delivery of shiny discs.
Yay, shiny discs!
Including one which may be relevant to Naomi's personal brand. It is a classic cult sci-fi horror, which is a very long-winded way of saying it might not be very good, called Night of the Big Heat. In which
The Big Heat,
in which, during an unseasonably cold winter, a remote Scottish island bakes in a mysterious heat wave, and only a remarkably grumpy scientist from the mainland, played by Christopher Lee, who hated this movie so much, he did an extra lap in his autobiography to shit on the special effects.
Oh my
Can't
God.
save the day. It was £10. I'm incredibly happy with spending that money that way.
Well, you gotta have something to do while you're building Lego, right? Naomi, you should know, Alasdair and I were talking about car shopping, which is something we are going to be starting. I would like to see the Heat movie. Yes. We were talking about car shopping because that's something we're going to start doing next week. And we were talking about we're going to just rock up at Naomi's house like, get in, losers! We're going to St. Kilda!
The words road trip Dopplering up the entire length of the country.
I am freaking queen of road trips. I love road trips.
She really is. I've been on several with her. They're all great.
Yes, love a road trip. That will be a very, very, very long road trip, but that's okay. I trust us. With your vibes and my snacks, we'll be totally fine.
And also, I'll be there.
And yes, you can help too, honey. It'll be great. To be fair, you are a very good co-pilot. You have all the important co-pilot duties down. Open the drink, unwrap the sandwich, push the button I can't reach, answer the phone. Yes, exactly. Vibe snack combo.
I actually bring back my receptionist voice. Hello, Marguerite's phone.
Yes, I'm sure. All right.
Before we dive fully into this, the other thing I want to recommend is I'm aware 20 people in the chat may not have seen this. One of them, sit down, Naomi, is some of the Team Kilda folks put together a movie to enter into a 48-hour movie competition. And it is so
delightful.
Freaking good. It's just under 7 minutes long, and it's like a Black Mirror episode, only not disappointing or nihilistic. And it's just... Okay, so it's not disappointing.
Things. It's not both. We can have an interesting argument about the nihilism.
But it's a beautifully turned and beautifully put together short story with a very nasty, very well realized ending. And you will find
very, very Black Mirror. In other words.
yeah, and you will find several very familiar sounding voices have faces attached to them.
Yay!
And those faces and voices are in the movie, and it is super great. It's really, really good.
Naomi may have a little nihilism as a treat.
Just like a light seasoning of nihilism.
Light seasoning, a soupçon of nihilism.
Are you sure it is Wafarthine?
Oh well, no, we're not going there. We're not going to talk about what's been making you laugh this whole entire day.
Aren't we?
Wait, do you want to? I am prepared.
Oh, okay. We'll cover that later. But as Naomi has brought this up, one of the other cast members in this movie is our mutual friend Reese, who is the husband of our also mutual friend Sarah Griffin, and Reese is so.
I think Reese has the most fun in the whole
fucking
movie.
Good in this thing. Yeah, I had to check to make sure it was him. Because Reese is... I'm fairly certain we were a couple of models apart on the Terminator clone mill.
There are very similar vibes between the two of you.
Yeah, I believe Reese referred to it as Radical Soft Boy.
Radical Soft Boy wing of the Terminator complex.
You know, the ones who turn up and go, "Oh, I'm really sorry. That's really awful. Is Sarah Connor about? If not, that's fine. I'll come back later." That's us. But no, Reese goes from this adorable teddy bear to, "Oh my god."
Yeah. You would be the only Terminator knock knock. Sorry to bother you, but yeah, that would be.
It's how I used to bounce.
Huh?
I was an amazingly terrible nightclub bouncer. My partner would go around at the end of the night and go off, fuck off, I'm tired. And I'd be like, he's had a really hard night. You got like 5 minutes, it's fine.
Undermining your partner's authority. I want your badge and your gun on my desk by noon. How dare you? You take your Baileys and go.
Any more from you and we'll hold you in contempt. I have nothing but contempt for this court.
Oh, yes, exactly. And that is correct. We are going to include links to where to find this lovely, lovely video in the full lid on Friday. I keep getting a little bit of camera glitch going on. Is that on your end or on that on my end? Apologies if people are getting the occasional flash. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Maybe it's our broadband that's tired because only a third of it gets out of the router. Don't get me started. I spent another hour on the phone with Sky today.
Grim.
I don't care
you
if
are
it
my
says
people.
What?
Grim Goblin 47 just said, was that a Transformers reference? Yes. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. But you are seeing the glitch. I am displeased by this development.
I am not presently seeing the glitch.
That's okay. Don't do not observe the glitch. It's fine.
Pay no
just every
attention
once
to the
in
glitch.
a while the camera will flicker for some reason. I'm not sure what's causing it.
Remove the device.
What?
I was saying things.
Okay.
Yes.
What else have you done this week, honey?
Oh, work.
I had dim sum.
Marguerite had dim sum in that London.
And they made it patriotic dim sum, so they put little Union Jacks on all of the bow. It was ridiculous, but very tasty, which I appreciated.
Oh, and I baked. I made sweet potato and feta and cinnamon puff pastry foldovers, basically hand pies.
Very tasty. It's a Catboy lumberjack making an escape through the Matrix. That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. It's coming from your camera. It's not coming from mine. I will.
Well, it is, isn't it?
I will troubleshoot at a future occasion. Maybe there's a screw loose or a wire jiggled or my money don't.
The platty tubes.
It folds. Anyway, too much TikTok. Move on. All right.
Yeah, just surely before we dive into it, those of you in the US should know it is very strange here this week. Very strange.
You've all seen this hideous photo of them projecting images of the Queen on the towers of Stonehenge.
Like the fucking incarnations of the Doctor.
Right? I mean, no regeneration noise, no nothing.
The Buckingham Palace blow up between them. Does she suddenly become Northern twice? That'd be great. Christopher Eccleston rock here. I'm the Queen. You got a problem? Didn't fucking think so. Be fantastic.
Yes. No, we do get 2 days off. So it is a bank holiday on tomorrow and Friday here in the UK. So we all get a 4-day weekend. They put her head on the carne.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Lupus.
Hi, Lupus. Thanks for joining us. So we all get a 4-day weekend, but the weather's crap, and everybody's going to be drunk in public and sunburned.
Yeah, so we're basically pulling the drawbridge up.
So yeah, we are going to ArchiveCon.
Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry for
all
it.
weekend, and the work I get in exchange is a free meal at the cafe that is closed because it's a bank holiday. Yeah. That is grumpy. I'm very sorry for Rats. That doesn't sound good. I hope you pack lots of good snacks and stuffs. If one more person asks me what I'm doing over my long weekend and I have to say work, I will scream. Would you like to see my to-do list for this long weekend?
Do we have that kind of time?
Those are all meetings. Those are all the things that I am doing on my long week. Okay, that's Friday, not tomorrow, right? Oh, thank God. I thought I had a 9 a.m. tomorrow. I was going to protest strongly. No, but I have a 9 a.m. on Friday. But between ArchiveCon and EA-related stuff, it's going to be very, very busy for us over the weekend as well, which is fine because it will keep us inside and away from the teeming masses, which is fine because none of these events are like... Most of them are outdoors, but a lot of them are like not requiring masks and all of that good stuff, and we still want to be, healthy, so we're not doing any of that this particular weekend. Hopefully people will think we're closed, so won't call. Yes, that would be nice. Oops, I knocked the phone off the hook accidentally, totally by mistake for my whole shift. What?
Phone was in the fridge. It was a health and safety concern.
Yes, exactly. It's just terrible tragedy, honestly. Right. Shall we do an opening monologue?
Yes.
Alrighty.
And also, Binley Mega Chippy, TikTok trend. Not quite that up to date yet.
Okay, fine. Cool. What is ArchiveCon, I hear you?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, shoot, I don't have any of my links. Zalia, can you help me out with a link, please? So ArchiveCon is a fan-run, a Magnus Archive-themed fan convention being run this weekend, at which yours truly are both going to be at several events. It is free. It's online. Free. It runs Saturday and Sunday. Online. It has all sorts of fun little events happening, all sorts of talks. In fact, let me open up the link and see if I can, because some of the programming items are just amazing.
Twitch,
I think. Somebody has totally beat. Oh, no. That's the programming about schedule. That's the button I want. Magnus Against Humanity, so a TMA-themed game of Cards Against Humanity. The Magnus Archives was a podcast license under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 international license. I did not even have to look at that to say that. So it's a deep dive into what is a Creative Commons license, which I'm like, someone beat me to that topic. Bravo, sir. But speaking of legal topics, I am going to give a little talk about fan artists versus IP owners and what's the deal with all the conflict there and what can you do and what can't you do and all that good stuff. That'll be fun. In fact, you and I are on 4 different things.
Yes, we are.
So I'm doing the laws for a bit.
The laws.
What is law? Yes, exactly. And then so the coordinator of the convention, Imperio, and I have conspired, and we have put together a collection of fan fiction that Alasdair will be cold reading. And if I really have enough time to prepare, there may be some Foley on my end occurring.
Please threaten me with a good time.
I know, right? I'm really hoping I can pull something off. But yeah, Alasdair will be cold reading fan fiction. And then we're going to do one called Fanception! And Azalia is going to be our interviewer, and the two of us are going to talk about, can you have a parasocial relationship with yourself?
Spoiler, yes.
How does that work? And then there's a Q&A with the two of us as well. And we have some of those questions in advance, by the way, so I should get those to you so you can read them over and come up with some answers.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And for all 4 of our panels, we will be streaming here on Twitch, so it will be recorded and available later.
So you don't necessarily have to watch it live.
Yes, the VOD will await us. And speaking of the VOD, what was that?
I was just high-fiving the concept of delayed action content.
Yes. With captions, that's a good question. I don't know if I can make captions work or not. I believe Twitch has a built-in caption feature if you click on the right-hand side of your screen, Naomi, but I don't know. I will make a note and see if I can accomplish that.
That seems like a very good area for us to research next.
Yes, in my copious spare time.
Copious spare time.
Captions? Question mark. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, you're wonderful, Pezzy.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, Pezzy. Thank you so much. Wait, can you have a parasocial relationship with yourself? Right?
Yeah.
That's what we gotta kind of figure out. It gets very complicated. And I was gonna say something else about it, and it just went right out of my head. Oh, we were talking about Valhalla. And speaking of Valhalla, we should all send some love to Wendy, who is not here with us this evening because Wendy is suffering from a migraine. So, love for Wendy. I hope you're feeling better soon. And speaking of Wendy.
Oh.
So you remember last week? Okay. Hold on. I have to grab this. Hold on. Remember last week how Wendy made a new hat for Chungus? Well, it found a permanent place to live. It's lived on my little squishy. He's very cute. And he has the cute little hat now. But, in addition, that was not the only summer hat that was prepared for Chungus. And this one's my favorite! Look at the cowboy hat for Chungus! I love it so. I want to steal it. I want to wear the cowboy hat. Y'all! The little Chungus cowboy hat is just the absolute greatest thing. I'm like, how do I give a jar cowboy boots? I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that.
Cardboard cutouts.
I'm like a little thing we could drop him in. By the way, Chungus is almost 20th June.
God.
His birthday's approaching, right? He's gonna be 2 years old.
You don't want to hear my cowboy voice. In fact, in a sense, you already have.
I have enough cowboy voice for both of us. It's fine.
The Taika Waititi interview that went viral earlier today, where he's talking about how he's the laziest actor that he's ever known, and when he was researching Blackbeard, he looked at the Wikipedia page and went, too many words. What's the accent? Bristolian. That sounds like hard work. I'll just do me. And he basically goes, my range is me. That is me.
It worked for Kevin Costner. It works for Nicolas Cage. It's a tried and true.
When it comes to American accents, I don't. Because I like Americans, specifically that one.
I mean, you better at this point.
I do a passable Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Do a cowboy. You can do. Just drop the G. Shooting. Hunting.
Fishing.
How y'all doing?
Secular discussion of issues. I'll just do the opening one. I'll just do the opening monologue. I'll just do it. I'll do it now.
Okay. All right. Okay. We've got a little bit of a delay going on there for a second. I don't know what it is. Rootin' tootin'.
I just thought you were staring me out, frankly, which was entirely justified.
I mean, that was a really good place for it to pause. Let's be blunt. So.
Time to go over to the opening monologue.
So you're just going to no-sell me on the cowboy voice here, aren't you?
Your cowboy voice is amazing. My cowboy voice is me.
I played Deadlands for 10 years. Damn well better get good at it.
I mean, one of my favorite movies is Armageddon. Don't judge me. And no, judge me. Judge me hard. I don't care. And one of the things that never ceases to amuse me about that is the fact that, firstly, for the first hour of it, Bruce Willis does a very good accent that he then just never bothers with again. And secondly, that William Robert Thornton.
Only you would name him William Robert Thornton.
A man from the South. A man from a part of the South, so the Southie, you can hear the capital letters. Does an unconvincing Southern accent.
Forrest is right. Actors whose range is me get really good at me, and then people hire them to do me.
Well, I mean, it's working out all right for Taika, isn't it? So
I'm trying to. I can't. If I point at you in real life, I can't point at you on cam.
Me.
I might have to swap us around so that I can do this in a more convincing fashion. Yes, I was pointing out that don't you have a little secret cameo in something that came out recently?
I do, and I'm actually not quite allowed to tell you anybody.
So people have to go and discover what new thing might be out recently that Alasdair might have a little tiny cameo in.
I am in 2 podcasts out this week. I have a very small hidden role in a podcast I've never been in before, and I'm really happy to be in it.
Oh, that reminds me, I should make a note of that for your Podchaser.
Right. And I'm also in episode 3 of Rogue Maker with Rook and Bonnie, who are in the chat right freaking now.
Woohoo!
And that I fucking love that show. It is, it builds so beautifully. It's just this incredibly well done, complex, character-driven story where spaceships explode. I mean, that's my jam.
And the live listen for episode 3 will be tomorrow night. Is that correct, folks? If I'm remembering, if my memory serves me correctly.
My memory serves
me
correctly.
Which is also, by the way, a deep cut, because that's how every single original Japanese Iron Chef episode would start. He would say, if my memory serves me correctly, and then he would talk about whoever the guest chef was that time, or the challenger, or the ingredient, and then he would reveal the secret ingredient, and then he would bite a giant yellow bell pepper and say, "A la cuisine!" And then they will cook for an hour. And if you can't tell, I am very, 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 very excited that there's going to be more Iron Chef
very soon
on Netflix. June 15th. You haven't seen very much of the original. I have probably watched all of Iron Chef, the original, like 8 times through. I love it so much. It is so ridiculous. It is the best thing in the world.
Iron Chef is fantastic.
Iron Chef is competitive cooking. So the original was a Japanese game show, basically. And it established the format, and then it was translated or subtitled and streamed on PBS, I think, in the US, and I was obsessed with it. I loved it. And then they did an American series where Bobby Flay was very rude, and he really pissed off the Japanese chefs because he jumped up on top of a cutting board with his dirty shoes, and Morimoto nearly threw him out of the arena. It was hilarious. And then there was an American version starring or commentated by my patron saint, Elton Brown. And now the new one will also be commentated by Elton Brown again, and I'm very excited.
With Mark Dacascos.
With Mark Dacascos, yeah. Oh, he was in the previous American version as well.
I love that Mark Dacascos' career is a string of really good B movies where he doesn't get enough love.
Brotherhood of the Wolf was not a B movie, as far as I'm concerned.
2 or 3 massive breakouts, like Brotherhood of the Wolf. He was great in the TV version of The Crow. There's a superb...
What?
Yeah. He was Eric in the TV series version of The Crow.
I never saw that.
They expanded the cosmology. They had other animals as avatars that brought people back. There was a lady who'd been brought back by a snake. It was very, very good. And then he kind of went away for a little bit, and then he showed up in John Wick 3, and now he's got to go back to Iron Chef, and I'm really happy for him. Yes, there is a TV series version on The Crow.
That's exactly what I just said. What? That might make a really good bill with Highlander the series, if I'm ever feeling ridiculously nostalgic.
They are remarkably similar.
Was it filmed at the same time as the original Vampire the Masquerade TV show?
I'm fairly certain it was filmed in the same location as Highlander.
I.e. Vancouver?
Fun fact, fam. The city that the Highlander TV show was set in, when it wasn't set in Paris half a season for tax and grant reasons, actually has the canonical fan name of Seacouver. Because it's somewhere on the Seattle-Vancouver border.
Yep.
So they just mashed the two cities together.
I love portmanteaus like that. We should really do an opening monologue now. We've been streaming for half an hour and just totally
Beastrogen. There really was 8 hours long, notable for, I believe, Stacey Haydock, the first season of Sequest DSV, being a prominent part of it.
This is a superpower.
I am hilariously dating myself by referencing both Sequest DSV and the Vampire Masquerade TV show. How is my audio now?
How am I doing now? Mike has gone wrong. Talk, my love.
How about now? Basically eating the mic at this point.
Don't eat the microphone.
Still bad? Am I still bad? Is the voice still bad? Is there still bad voice?
Fuzzy?
Bad voice, bad voice, bad voice. He's bad.
Are you eating the microphone?
How about I turn my headset on and off?
I turn it off and turn it back on again?
Yes.
Because, it's weird that it's the connection, because the connection is here, and he doesn't bunk it. Don't bunk it. Technical term. Don't whack it.
Because maintenance is not the order of the day.
No, not unless you're Orc Mechaniac.
Okay, how are we doing, folks?
Bunka, bunka, bunka. Bunka, bunka, bunka. You have to keep talking so they can hear you.
I'm just going to say Tinkle outside the binkle. You know that. I'm genuinely amazed.
That's it. I'm putting it up on the screen. Now you have to talk about it. Okay, are you ready? Behold the thing that has made Alasdair cackle uncontrollably all week.
These just annihilate me because they are AI-generated fast food restaurant signs, and they're very bad. And they're very bad in very endearing ways.
He hasn't been saying tinkle outside the binkle like for 2 days solid.
Subway
It's
Eef Freef is just
Eef Freef.
The Waffle House one.
Okay, hold on.
Gold mine.
Okay, you need to wait. I prepared for this. You said the Waffle House one? You mean that? That monstrosity?
Okay, we're going to walk through a couple of these really quick. Firstly, Waflefe Wole is a football player, and I will not be told different. That man has escaped from the Key and Peele football roster sketches. Secondly, Wafi, Jawa battle cry. Waffle, am I lying? I do not think I am. The one that has killed me, strangely, other than Vote Cafese, or Wote Cafese, which is so very clearly...
Wote Cafese.
So very
that
clearly...
That is a Star Wars character. Wote
right,
Cafese.
One of Cassian Andor's informants, has to be.
Wote Cafese.
Is Waffle House. And how the only reason that Waffle House...
I want a Waffle Hose! That would be nice!
Right? Waffle Hose and Haifwaus. And how if you just shift 2 letters in Haifwaus, you get Waif House, which is the premier Dickensian Wives of Victorian London reality TV show.
Pregnant Tat? McNaldo's is going to be a character in my next D&D game. Oh, but there's so many more of these, because today there was a donuts one. Hang on. Oh, that one did not resize well. Hang on.
I have it.
I know. I will make it smaller, but right now it is covering your lovely face. There we go. There it is. You're laughing already. You're not even... He just pulls the thing up and it destroys him. Donka!
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here, Bonnie, because the image you put up of Donkey from Shrek with Donka across the top of it made me laugh so hard I couldn't see for about a minute and a half. Doinko Dons. Dunian Donus, another Star Wars character.
Yes, right? No. That one's definitely in the DC universe, because you have the first name, last name, first letter alliteration. Lois Lane.
Mild mannered Dunian Donus was a Roman centurion at the crucifixion, and at the last possible minute, he was struck by a bolt of lightning from, I don't know, Krypton or something. Yeah.
Let's see how many more of these I have, because you found a couple more of these, and I think they're going to wind up being interstitials, aren't they?
I have the Taco Bell one.
Okay, you want the Taco Bell one? All right, here we go with the Taco Bell one. Oh, Becco Beal.
Becco Belco Tab. My favorite is Tel Becklo Bacco.
Oh, gosh. These are all so awful.
And then, of course, we get to tinkle outside the binkle.
Oh, would you stop? Would you just stop? Oh, there's an In-N-Out one as well, one of which is prescient. Nut Knot, which is like pretty much perfectly on top of In-N-Out.
One of the In-N-Out ones is just the word now.
Unt Nuit. Yeah, they just...
Oh, even better, there's noun and not noun.
Not noun! Noun, not noun. There you go. Proper grammar, in and out style.
and the one that declares war on Dunkin' Donuts, no nut. This has been my brain this week. This has been my brain. I'm not even sorry.
I know. Yeah, we've done very little else other than work constantly and laugh at this ridiculously. So now should we do an opening monologue?
I'll go on then, seeing as you asked so
All
nicely.
right. Here we go. Where's the opening monologue?
This is, as ever, from houseband Nate Crowley. If you're listening or watching, hey buddy, how you doing? And it is Microtransactions in Hearthstone, the last word. A very serious article.
Do you want me to start?
I'll go. This article is not about microtransactions. That is, buying virtual products with small payments within the game of Hearthstone. It is in fact an article about microtransactions. Specifically, it's about how the various characters from Hearthstone would react to the initiation of transactions involving very small amounts of money, according to me and my mate Trevor. Microtransactions in the real world are situations we all face every day. As such, this article is educational, and so much more important than if it were about microtransactions. Anyway, here we go.
By the way, we now have a new 38-minute record for
waffling
or waffle hosing at the start of a stream. Rexar, hunter, half orc, half ogre, wears a sort of Batman hat, I guess. Big supply of wolves, disagreeable, big lad, growls a lot. Scenario. It is a dreary February afternoon in a hospital car park. Yet again, you're a pound short for the meter. Rexar is walking briskly past with his bow and arrow, and you find yourself blurting a request for help. You're on crutches, so surely he'll be sympathetic. Likely outcome. Rexar looks at you with sudden curiosity. Immediately becomes apparent that he cares neither for you, nor for parking meters, nor for the whole of law of man. In fact, you're not even certain he knows what a parking meter is. As the wind rattles the dead leaves across the tarmac, why are we on a tarmac all of a sudden? You realize the hour is late, and that you might die. This was a mistake, but after a short but unnerving pause, Rexar evidently decides you are beneath him, and rushes off to befriend an echidna or some other monster, without saying a word. What was he doing in a car park? Why did you approach him? It does not matter. You are just happy to be alive.
Gul'dan, warlock. Orc with a beard. Quite fond of demons. Quite thespian. Keen on dark pacts and terrible sacrifice. He greets you. Scenario. You want Gul'dan to help you out by changing 2 50-pence coins for £1 so you can get a trolley at Sainsbury's. You've seen him here before and he didn't annihilate anyone, but you're still wary. Likely outcome. Gul'dan stares into your eyes with a dark hint of a smile and speaks. Yes, he ruminates, let's turn 2 into 1. You want to renege on the deal at this point, but it is too late. With a flicker of green light, Gul'dan is gone, and a £1 coin is in your palm, crackling with strange energies. The encounter chills you, and you never forget it. 3 years later, your marriage breaks down, and as you sit alone in your rat-haunted bedsit, you curse that afternoon at Sainsbury's. Finally, you know what Gul'dan must have meant. Your partner left, and 2 became 1. He's only bloody reverse Spice Girl'd you. Damn that warlock! But Gul'dan never meant that at all. He was just trying to be friendly. Gul'dan's alright.
Uther, paladin, military leader with gruesomely large shoulders. Mellifluous voice. Indeterminate age. Wants you to read his war bible. Scenario. Knowing he fancies himself as a bit cash savvy, you offer Uther the opportunity to invest $3.50 for a 10% stake in a management consultancy venture, which you've made up on the spot. Likely outcome, Uther does not realize you're taking the piss. He makes a theatrical noise, clearly reveling in this minor power, and steeples his fingers with a quiet clank. Clearly, he wants to savor every moment as he narrows his eyes and starts asking incredibly detailed questions about your business model, each accompanied by a wily smirk and a questing index finger. You realize he's living out a fantasy that's been building over a decade of watching Dragon's Den. You don't know what's worse, that he took you seriously or that he seems to reckon he's on to a good deal. Regardless, after 15 minutes of long-winded interrogation, you're deeply you're deeply regretful of ever asking the question. But there's no turning back now. Uther's withdrawn a folder labeled due diligence, and he looks like he has no interest in stopping.
Valera, rogue, blood elf, like a normal elf, but a bit more cross. Moth eyebrows, into shadows. It's embarrassing that female game characters are still designed like this. Scenario. You're trying to buy £4.35 worth of snacks at a corner shop. A Rustler's cheeseburger, some McCoys, a Ribena, and a Mint Arrow.
Oh.
He'll have fucking done it too. He'll have worked out that cost, I promise you. But you've only got £3.50 in cash, and the minimum card transaction is £5. Valera is behind you in the queue.
So buy 2 more bags of chips and share with a friend.
Likely outcome. You turn around sheepishly and ask if you can borrow 85p. Valera doesn't reply. She looks furious. Or maybe it's just her eyebrows. It's really hard to tell. Either way, she's going to stab her out, so you immediately apologize. Of course not. No, of course not. I'm sorry. What I meant was perhaps I could pay for one of your items to make the total up to £5. No sense in the extra going completely to waste, is there? These bloody minimum transactions. Wasn't it easier when we all just used cash? You started babbling in fear. Won't Valera just say something and put an end to this? She says nothing. Just strides to the counter and points to a bottle of needlessly expensive brandy. It's 70 quid. But you panic, you buy it for her, and on the walk home you realise you could have avoided the whole ordeal by just grabbing an extra Twix.
Vindication! Just buy a snack for later! And a bottle of water. You don't have enough hydration. Anduin, priest. Face of a forgotten 90s boy band guy. Outfit of an 18th century general who didn't know when to stop. Thinks he's the big man. He's not. Scenario. You are running a charity raffle for a cause that you've previously heard Anduin loudly advocating for. When you bump into him in town, you ask him if he'd like to buy a ticket for £4, or maybe 3 for £10. Anduin has no cash on him at present, although he makes a big show of checking his robes because he swore on the light he had a tenor. After that, he begins what threatens to be a long, rambling sob story about how his card was declined after an administrative error at Barclays. However, somewhere along the way, Anduin's patter shifts gears, and before you know it, he's telling you all about the new folk EP he's done with Malfurion Storm Rage, and how it'd be super awesome if you can make the launch party on Saturday the 15th. Somewhat phased, you said that'd be cool, and that you'll check your diary, and that's that. You're left trying to open your calendar app while Anduin gives you a brisk half hug and a see you later, then scarpers around the corner. He's done it again.
Thrall, shaman, an orc with a beard. What if the Hulk smoked weed? Indefinable air as someone you'd see passed out halfway out of a tent on day 2 of a shit music festival.
Okay, so he's drawing from real life experience, are we here, Nate?
Scenario. Friday night, you're at the pub with workmates, 3 pints into what will probably be a 4-pint session. Suddenly, Thrall is in your peripheral vision, politely but firmly asking if he can buy the last half of your pint. He's offering £1. The maths doesn't stack up, but the coin is already in his massive green bin lid of a hand, and he's making steady eye contact. Likely outcome. You give Thrall the drink to avoid a confrontation and trudge back to the bar to buy another pint for yourself for £5.40. When you see him at a mate's place the next week, he rushes right over and apologizes profusely. I'm really sorry about last Friday, I was so baked. Did I steal a pint from you? You tell him it was no big deal, but he's insisting on paying you back, and he will not take no for an answer. Alas, he has no cash on him then and there, but you can have a copy of his new album. It's a kind of slow burn, psychedelic trip-hop set that really stretches the definition of music, apparently. You can skip track 7, though. Anduin turned up wanting to sing and wouldn't be dissuaded. The next afternoon, you decide to put the album on for a laugh, but the CD is blank.
This has become meta. Malfurion. Druid. Absolutely ripped purple bloke. One massive ear. I can't remember if he's a centaur. Rave beard. Moth eyebrows, so it could be an elf. Scenario: you and your good pan Malfurion Stormrage have planned a trip to see Aquaman at the cinema. It's not really your thing, but Malfurion reckons it looks druidy, so you've booked 2 seats. On your way to the cinema, Malfurion texts cancel with no explanation, saying he hopes someone else will take the ticket. Likely outcome. Of course, it's far too late to find someone to take the ticket, so you watch Aquaman alone and out of pocket to the tune of $8.75. The film is okay. You text Malfurion the next morning to tell him no one took the ticket, hoping he'll get the hint and offer to pay you back. But he doesn't even say sorry. He just asks him how you found the film. Sighing, you text him the vaguest possible review of Aquaman, to which Malfurion responds, "Dude, spoilers!" You do not reply.
Garrosh, warrior. An orc with no beard. Quite aggressive. Mammoth tusks his epaulets. Absolutely loses the plot when he stubs his toe on something. Scenario: it is 10 p.m. at Euston Station.
Oh, God, is there anything worse?
You've got to board a train to Birmingham in 6 minutes, but you've had a few pints and you're utterly desperate for a piss. There's no way you want to jostle for the urine-sprinkled toilet on board the train, so it's going to have to be the station loo. And those stupid little turnstiles that won't let you pass unless you pay exactly 30 pence. You've got no change. And the only other passenger in sight is Garrosh, malevolently labouring his way through a big bag of tins. Likely outcome. Sorry, I'm still chuckling at malevolently labouring. Excuse me, mate, you say, and even through your 6-pint haze, you're aware you struck a falsely masculine and familiar tone in a bid to impress this hulking creature. Before you could feel too embarrassed, however, you have Garrosh's full attention, and the situation is teetering on a knife edge. You cut right to the case. I'm busted for a wee, but I don't have the change for the set. You get no further, however, as Garrosh picks you up and hurls you over the turnstile like a monstrous Alexander punching the Gordian knot to bits. What a decent bloke. In a way, when the booze wears off, you head to hospital where an x-ray reveals you have 4 broken ribs.
And you've pissed yourself on the way down from the throw. And I think you're right, Pezzy. It is 35p. I think it may be even up to 50p now. Gosh, that's the nice thing about Paddington is that at least they have bathrooms. Jonia. Mage. Don't think she's an elf, but she does have long eyebrows. Sick abs. Barred all day, every day. Typical female adventurer armor wear. One of 2 women in the lineup. There are 4 orcs, though. Scenario: you bump unexpectedly into Jonia while leaving Primark and stop for an awkward chat that none of you really wants to have. The situation becomes worse when you hear one of Anduin and Malfurion's folk dirges ringing through the air from further down the high street. They are busking. Likely outcome: Jonia, her abdominal muscles bulging, drags you away to listen to their dreadful performance. When the song finishes, Anduin raises his eyebrows and glances toward a battered guitar case containing crude forgeries of 20-pound notes, which he's clearly put there to encourage large contributions. Classic Anduin, on the bag again. Nevertheless, you fish in your pocket for a couple of silvers to help him save face, even though you know his priest salary is way more than yours, and assume Jonia will do the same. But she hasn't. She's not even there. She wandered off during the song, leaving you to make small talk with someone else.
Hearthstone characters, everyone. They're all kind of dicks.
I kind of dig this whole universe, though. I'm like, can I just read more about the universe and this, emerging dirge folk band that we have to deal with?
Malfurion!
London, Liverpool went free. That's
Nicely
nice.
done.
I have to not trekking all the way over to Liverpool Street, though.
Also, thanks for the sub, Butch.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Look, here we are an hour into the stream and we finished the opening monologue.
Hey!
Should we take a break? Oh my gosh. No, it's fine. Let's start the story.
Okay, this is another one from M.R. James. Those of you who are regular check-ins will know that James is one of our go-tos because he was prolific. He was actually good, unlike an awful lot of dead white male horror authors who would.
He says, making glaring
And
yes, exactly. Also known by, initials and last names.
Providence, Rhode Island's #1 Celine Dion impersonator.
Yes.
Let's move on,
Precisely.
like horror hasn't. Anyway. No, James is really solid. Have a great night, Forets. We'll see you in Valhalla.
See ya. Bye, Forets.
We've just done A Warning to the Curious, which is superb. And this is A View from a Hill. And yes, those of you of a certain age who are humming the Bond theme, so are we. We won't get through all of this because it's freaking huge, but we'll get through a couple of thousand words of it easily.
Content warnings really quick for death and dying.
Horror themes.
Mental health and trauma. Sociopolitical themes, i.e. he was writing in the early 20th century. And violence. As always, you can find a detailed list of content warnings which may contain spoilers at the link in the chat. So this is quite a lengthy story. We'll probably get about a third or a half of the way through it this session. But, last time we were in a story on a hill and nothing went wrong, so...
You had to say it.
I did
you
have
had
to
say it.
Oh, I just realized I may have messed up. Hang on a second.
You had to say it.
I haven't changed the title of the story, so you do that, and I'll change the title of
A Warning to the Curious 2. To Warning to Curious.
Oh, I set you up for that so badly. Oh, how dare I? Okay. There. Fine. Happy now?
Deliriously.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
To Warning to Curious. All right, I'm going to mute myself. You may proceed, sir.
A View from a Hill by M.R. James. How pleasant it can be, alone in a first-class railway carriage, on the first day of a holiday that is to be fairly long, to dawdle through a bit of English country that is unfamiliar, stopping at every station. You have a map open on your knee, and you pick out the villages that lie to right and left by their church towers. You marvel at the complete stillness that attends your stoppage at the stations, broken only by a footstep crunching the gravel. Yet perhaps that is best experienced after sundown. And the traveller I have in mind was making his leisurely progress on a sunny afternoon in the latter half of June.
Wow, I didn't realize how topical this would be.
Timely. He was in the depths of the country. I need not particularize further than to say that if you divided the map of England into 4 quarters, he would have been in the southwestern of them. He was a man of academic pursuits, because this is an M.R. James story, and his term was just over. He was on his way to meet a new friend, older than himself. The two of them had first met on an official inquiry in town, had found that they had many tastes and habits in common, liked each other, and the result was an invitation from Squire Richards to Mr. Fanshawe, which was now taking effect. The journey ended about 5 o'clock. Fanshawe was told by a cheerful country porter that the car from the hall had been up to the station and left a message that something had to be fetched from half a mile further on, and would the gentleman please to wait a few minutes till it came back. But I see, continued the porter, as you've got your bicycle, I'm very like you found it pleasant there to ride up to the hall yourself, straight up the road here, and then first turn to the left, 8 above 2 mile, and I'll see as your things is put in the car for you. You'll excuse me mentioning it, sir, only I thought it was a nice evening for a ride. Yes, sir, very seasonable weather for the haymakers. Let me see, I have your bike ticket, here we go. Thank you very much, sir, much obliged, can't miss your road, etc., etc. The 2 miles to the hall were just what was needed after the day in the train, to dispel somnolence and impart a wish for tea. The hall, when sighted, also promised just what was needed in the way of a quiet resting place after days of sitting on committees and college meetings. It was neither excitingly old nor depressingly new. Plastered walls, sash windows, old trees, smooth lawns. These were the features which Fanshawe noticed as he came up the drive. Squire Richards, a burly man of 60-odd, was awaiting him in the porch with evident pleasure. "Tea first," he said. "Or would you like a longer drink? No? All right, tea's ready in the garden. Come along, they'll put your machine away. I always have tea under the lime tree by the stream on a day like this." Nor could you ask for a better place. Midsummer afternoon, shade and scent of a vast lime tree, cool swirling water within 5 yards. It was long before either of them suggested a move. But about 6, Mr. Richards sat up, knocked out his pipe, and said, "Look here, it's cool enough now to think of a stroll if you're so inclined. All right, then what I suggest is that we walk up the park and get onto the hillside where we can look over the country. We'll have a map and I'll show you where things are and you can go off on your machine, or we can take the car according as you want exercise or not. If you're ready, we can start now and be back well before 8, taking it very easy." "I'm ready. I should like my stick, though. And do you have any field glasses? I lent mine to a man a week ago, and he's gone off Lord knows where and taken them with him." Mr. Richards pondered. "Yes," he said, "I have. They're not things I use myself, and I don't know whether the ones I have will suit you, though. They're old-fashioned, about twice as heavy as they make 'em now. You're welcome to have them, but I won't carry them. By the way, what do you want to drink after dinner?" Protestations that anything would do were, of course, overruled, and a satisfactory settlement was reached on the way to the front hall, where Mr. Fanshawe found his stick, and Mr. Richards, after thoughtful pinching of his lower lip, resorted to a drawer in the hall table, where he extracted a key, crossed to a cupboard in the panelling, opened it, took a box from the shelf, and put it on the table. "The glasses are in there," he said. "Oh, and there's some dodge of opening it, but I've forgotten what it is. You try." Mr. Fanshawe accordingly tried. There was no keyhole, and the box was solid, heavy, smooth. It seemed obvious that some part of it would have to be pressed before anything could happen. "The corners," said he to himself. "Those are the likely places, and infernally sharp corners they are, too," he added as he put his thumb in his mouth after exerting fierce force on a lower corner. "What's the matter?" said the squire. "Why, your disgusting Borgia box has scratched me, damn it," said Fanshawe. The squire chuckled unfeelingly. You've got to open it anyway. You've got it open anyway," he said. "So I have. Well, I don't begrudge a drop of blood in a good cause. Oh, and here are the glasses. They are pretty heavy, as you said, but I think I'm equal to carrying them." "Ready?" said the squire. "Come on, then. We go out by the garden." So they did, and passed out into the park, which sloped decidedly upwards to the hill, which, as Fanshawe had seen from the train, dominated the country. It was a spur of a larger range that lay behind. On the way, the squire, who was great on earthworks, pointed out various spots where he detected or imagined traces of war ditches and the like. "And here," he said, stopping on a more or less level plot with a ring of large trees, "is Baxter's Roman villa." "Baxter?" said Mr. Fanshawe. "Oh, I forgot. You don't know about him. He was the old chap I got those glasses from. I believe he made them. He's an old watchmaker down in the village, a great antiquary. My father gave him leave to grub about where he liked, and when he made a find, he used to lend him a man or two to help him with the digging. He got a surprising lot of things together, and when he died, I dare say it's 10, 15 years ago, I bought the whole lot and gave them to the town museum. We'll run in one of these days, look over them. The glasses came to me with the rest, but of course I kept them. If you look at them, you'll see they're more or less amateur work, the body of them. Naturally, the lenses weren't his making." "Yes, I see they're just the sort of thing that a clever workman in a different line of business might turn out. But I don't see why he made them so heavy. And did Baxter actually find a Roman villa here?" "Yes, there's a pavement turfed over where we're standing. It was too rough and plain to be worth taking up, but of course there are drawings of it, and the small things and pottery that turned up were quite good out of that kind. An ingenious chap, old Baxter. He seemed to have quite an out-of-the-way instinct for these things. It was invaluable to our archaeologists, in fact. He used to shut up his shop for days at a time, wander off over the district, marking down places where he scented anything on the ordnance map. He kept a book with fuller notes of the places. Since his death, a good many of them have been sampled. There's always been something to justify him. What a good man, said Mr. Fanshawe. Good, said the squire, pulling up brusquely. I meant useful to have about the place, said Mr. Fanshawe. Was he a villain? I don't know about that either, said the squire. But all I can say is if he was good, he wasn't lucky. He wasn't liked. I didn't like him, he added, after a moment. Oh, said Fanshawe, interrogatively. No, I didn't. But that's enough about Baxter. Besides, this is the stiffest bit. I don't want to talk and walk as well. Indeed, it was hot, climbing a slippery grass slope that evening. I told you I should take you the short way, panted the squire, and I wish I hadn't. However, Bath won't do us any harm when we get back. Here we are, and there's the seat. A small clump of old Scotch firs crowned the top of the hill, and at the edge of it, commanding the cream of the view, was a wide and solid seat, on which the two disposed themselves, and wiped their brows, and regained breath. Now then, said the squire, as soon as he was in a condition to talk connectedly, this is where your glasses come in. But you'd better take a general look round first. My word, I've never seen the view better. Writing as I am now, with a winter wind flapping against dark windows and a rushing, tumbling sea within 100 yards, I find it hard to summon up the feelings and words which will put my reader in possession of the June evening and the lovely English landscape of which the squire was speaking. Across a broad level plain they looked upon ranges of great hills, whose uplands, some green, some furred with woods, caught the light of a sun westering but not yet low. And all the plain was fertile, though the river which traversed it was nowhere to be seen. There were copses, green wheat, hedges, pasture land, the little compact white moving cloud marking the evening train. Then the eye picked out red farms and grey houses, and nearer home scattered cottages, and then the Hall, nestled under the hill. The smoke of chimneys was very blue and straight. There was a smell of hay in the air. There were wild roses on bushes hard by. It was the acme of summer. After some minutes of silent contemplation, the squire began to point out the leading features, the hills and valleys, and told where the towns and villages lay. Now, he said, with the glasses you'll be able to pick out Fulnaker Abbey. Take a line across that big green field, then over the wood beyond it, then over the farm on the knoll. Yes, said Fanshawe, I've got it. What a fine tower! You must have got the wrong direction, said the squire. There's not much of a tower about there that I remember, unless it's Oldbourne Church that you've got hold of. If you call that a fine tower, well, you are easily pleased. Well, I do call it a fine tower, said Fanshawe, the glasses still at his eyes, whether it's Oldbourne or any other, and it must belong to a largish church. It looks to me like a central tower, 4 big pinnacles at the corners, and four smaller ones between. I must certainly go over there. How far is it? Oldbourne's about 9 miles, or less, said the squire. It's a long time since I've been there, but I don't remember thinking much of it. Now I'll show you another thing. Fanshawe had lowered the glasses and was still gazing in the Oldbourne direction. No, he said. I can't make anything out with the naked eye. What was it you were going to show me? A good deal more to the left. It oughtn't to be difficult to find. Did you see a rather sudden knob of a hill with a thick wood on top of it? It's in a dead line with that single tree on the top of the big ridge. I do, said Fanshawe, and I believe I could tell you without much difficulty what it's called. Could you now? Said the squire. Say on. Why, Gallows Hill, was the answer. How did you guess that? Well, if you don't want it guessed, you shouldn't put up a dummy gibbet and a man hanging on it. What's that? Said the squire abruptly. There's nothing on that hill but wood. On the contrary, said Fanshawe, there's a large-ish expanse of grass on the top, and your dummy gibbet in the middle, and I thought there was something on it when I looked first, but I see there's nothing. Or is there? I can't be sure. Nonsense. That's nonsense, Fanshawe. There's no such thing as a dummy gibbet or any other sort on that hill, and it's a thick wood, a fairly young plantation. I was in it myself not a year ago. Hand me the glasses. I don't suppose I can see anything. After a pause. No, I thought not. They won't show a thing. Meanwhile, Fanshawe was scanning the hill. It might be only 2 or 3 miles away. Well, it's very odd, he said. It does look exactly like a wood without the glass. He took it again. That is one of the oddest effects. The gibbet is perfectly plain, and the grass field, and there even seem to be people on it, and carts, or a cart with men in it, and yet when I take the glass away, there's nothing. There must be something in the way this afternoon light falls. I shall come up earlier in the day when the sun's full on it. Did you say you saw people and a cart on the hill? Said the squire incredulously. What should they be doing there at this time of day, even if the trees have been felled? Do talk sense. Look again.
You're awake. The beginning of Skyrim.
Well, I certainly thought I saw them. Yes, I should say there are a few just clearing off, and now, by Jove, it does look like something is hanging on the gibbet. But these glasses are so beastly heavy, I can't hold them steady for long. Anyhow, you can take it from me there's no wood, and if you'll show me the road on the map, I'll go there tomorrow. The squire remained brooding for some little time. At last he rose and said, Well, I suppose that will be the best way to settle it. Now we'd better be getting back. Bath and dinner is my idea. And on the way back he was not very communicative. They returned through the garden and went into the front hall to leave sticks, etc., in their due place. And here they found the aged butler, Patton, evidently in a state of some anxiety. I beg pardon, Master Henry, he began at once, but someone's been up to mischief here, I'm much afraid. He pointed to the open box which had contained the glasses. Nothing worse than that, Patton, said the squire. Mayn't I take out my own glasses and lend them to a friend? Bought with my own money, you recollect? At Baxter's old sale, eh? Patton bowed, unconvinced. Oh, very, very well, Master Henry, as long as you know who it was. Only I thought proper to name it, for I didn't think that box had been off its shelf since you first put it there, and if you'll excuse me after what happened. The voice was lowered, and the rest was not audible to Fanshawe. The squire replied with a few words and a gruff laugh, and called on Fanshawe to come and be shown his room, and I do not think that anything else happened that night, which bears on my story.
I'm literally making a list of common themes in M.R. James stories we can talk about on the break.
Except, perhaps, the sensation which invaded Fanshawe in the small hours that something had been let out which ought not to have been let out. It came into his dreams. He was walking in a garden which he seemed half to know, and stopped in front of a rockery made of old wrought stones, pieces of window tracery from a church, and even bits of figures. One of these moved his curiosity. It seemed to be a sculptured capital with scenes carved on it. He felt he must pull it out, and worked away, and with an ease that surprised him. moved the stones that obscured it aside and removed the block, and as he did so, a tin label fell down by his feet with a little clatter. He picked it up and read on it, "On no account move this stone. Yours sincerely, J. Patton." As often happens in dreams, he felt that this injunction was of extreme importance, and with an anxiety that amounted to anguish, he looked to see if the stone had really been shifted, and indeed, it had. In fact, he could not see it anywhere. The removal had disclosed the mouth of a burrow, and he bent down to look into it. Something stirred in the blackness, and then, to his intense horror, a hand emerged, a clean right hand in a neat cuff and coat sleeve, just in the attitude of a hand that means to shake yours. He wondered whether it would not be rude to let it alone, but as he looked at it, it began to grow hairy and dirty and thin, and also to change its pose and stretch out as if to take hold of his leg. At that, he dropped all thought of politeness, decided to run, screamed, and woke himself up. This was the dream he remembered, but it seemed to him, as, again, it often does, that there had been others of the same import before, but just not so insistent. Fancy Golem, exactly. He lay awake for some little time, fixing the details of the last dream in his mind, and wondering in particular what the figures had been which he had seen, or half seen, on the carved capital. Something quite incongruous, he felt sure, but that was the most he could recall. Whether because of the dream, or because it was the first day of his holiday, he did not get up very early, nor did he at once plunge into the exploration of the country. He spent a morning, in fact, half lazy, half instructive, in looking over the volumes of the County Archaeological Society's transactions, in which were many contributions from Mr. Baxter on finds of flint implements, Roman sites, ruins of monastic establishments, in fact, most departments of archaeology. They were written in an odd, pompous, only half-educated style. If the man had had more early schooling, thought Fanshawe, he would have been a very distinguished antiquary, or he might have been, he thus qualified his opinion a little later, but for a certain love of opposition and controversy. And yes, a patronizing tone, as of one possessing superior knowledge, which left an unpleasant taste.
In other words, he wrote like a jerk.
He might have been a very respectable artist. There was an imaginary restoration and elevation of a priory church which was really very well conceived. A fine pinnacled central tower was a conspicuous feature of this. It reminded Fanshawe of that which he had seen from the hill, on which the squire had told him must be Oldbourne, but it was not Oldbourne. It was Fulnaker Priory. Oh well, he said to himself, I suppose Oldbourne Church may have been built by Fulnaker monks, and Baxter has copied Old House Tower. Anything about it in the letterpress? Nah, I see it was published after his death. Found amongst his papers. After lunch, the squire asked Fanshawe what he meant to do. Well, said Fanshawe, I think I shall go out on my bike about 4, as far as Oldbourne and back by Gallows Hill. That ought to be a round of about 15 miles, oughtn't it? About that, said the squire. Oh, and you'll pass Lambsfield and Wanstone, both of which are worth looking at. There's a little glass at Lambsfield and the stone at Wanstone. Oh, good, said Fanshawe. I'll get tea somewhere. May I take the glasses? I'll strap them on my bike on the carrier. Of course, if you like, said the squire. Really ought to have some better ones. If I go into the town today, I'll see if I can pick up some. Why should you trouble to do that if you can't use them yourself? Said Fanshawe. Oh, I don't know. One ought to have a decent pair, and, well, old Patton doesn't think those are fit to use. Is he a judge? He has some tale. I don't know. Something about old Baxter. I'd promised to let him tell me about it. It seems very much on his mind since last night. Why that? Did he have a nightmare? Like me? He had something. He was looking an old man this morning, and he said he hadn't closed an eye. Well, let him save up his tale till I come back. Very well, I will if I can. Look, here, are you going to be late? If you get a puncture 8 miles off and have to walk home, what then? I don't trust those bicycles. I shall tell them to give us cold things to eat. I shan't mind that, whether I'm late or early, but I've got things to mend punctures with, and now I'm off.
Yeah, Patton totally knows those glasses are haunted.
It was just as well that the squire...
Hold on, that seems like a pretty good place to stop, actually.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, we're a little early. I could maybe push through.
No, it's okay. I don't want to blow out your voice. We're going to be talking all weekend.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So here's my... So we'll
I
stop
also
there.
don't trust bikes.
I also don't trust bikes. Yeah, exactly. So why don't we take just a little break and let you refill your tea,
Cool.
and everybody can have a stretch and stuff, and then we'll chat about the story so far. I've made a list of the features of M.R. James stories we can talk through. Sound like a good plan? Alrighty, hang on. Let me find the correct buttons to push. So we will be back in a couple minutes. This is a great time, folks, for you to get a little snack, have some water, stretch, see if you need to attend to medications or pets or chores or cat boys or locking the doors or any of those good things. And we'll be back in a couple minutes, and we'll do some shenanigans, and we'll talk about the story. Hello, everybody.
Hey, folks,
Welcome
how's it
back.
going?
I did it. I made Sheriff Beeps.
She made Sheriff Beeps, y'all.
I couldn't help it. I had to make Sheriff Beeps.
Sheriff Beeps, everybody.
Sheriff Beeps and trusted sidekick.
There's a new sheriff in town, and he's adorable.
Right? Wendy, help. I need hats. I love
I
them
would
all.
watch this show.
I would. This would make a great children's television show, right? Beeps and friends. Hunt crimes. Solve crimes. Learn lessons about friendship.
Do crimes. Engage in radical social activism.
Exactly.
Eat cake.
All cops are bastards. All that good stuff. Can you tell it's like the night before a bank holiday weekend and everybody's just knackered?
Weirdly long bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so shall we talk about common themes that I've picked up on MR James stories?
Please, because I know you have a list.
I have a list, and you can let me know. The mentorship of older gentlemen. And all of those older gentlemen seem to be landed gentry of some kind, very minor landed gentry. They are squires or lords with big empty houses and servants.
A lot of bachelors.
Yes, whole lot of lifelong gentlemanly bachelors, shall we say. Howdy, friends. Guess who had 7 million meetings today, but is now here for Marguerite's MR James.
Yay!
Yay, Hawkeye. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, yes, most of these stories involve an wealthy mentor older gentleman and a younger teacher or minor bureaucratic official. There's a lot of antiques involved, lots of archaeology and digging, and therefore lots of tunnels and burrows involved. This is getting very Freudian, shall we say. Yeah, like I said, digging, archaeology. There's a lot of inherited knowledge, like buried lore in some little tiny obscure village somewhere. All of these villages have hilltops, and they're all on the seaside. And they all have towers. So we have towers and tunnels and older gentlemen. It's evocative imagery, shall we say. And there's lots of forbidden secrets that must be discovered but not shared and then kept secret.
That's a really great list. Kind of the two things I'd put on top of that are there's a lot of implications of cunning folk, which is one of the terms that's used for English shaman, for want of a better word. People who know things. And sometimes these are the people who you go to and go, I have a bit of a problem. And they go, yeah, I'll help you out. Don't go back to your house for a day or so. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's also a really interesting class element, because we're 2 for 2 now on James stories where the locals, the blue-collar working-class locals, know exactly what's up.
3 for 3.
Yes.
All the common folk are quite aware, and this bumbling little outsider who stumbles into the rich country, the rich person has no idea.
Exactly. And Toffington Bottomley Smythe rolls up and goes, I say, chaps, would it be a fabulous lark if we dug up Excalibur? What could possibly go wrong?
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Yes, that could be the name of this whole subtitle. This whole subtitle.
Alasdair's shirt is, in fact, the void from last week tonight.
That is correct. Because it has been a busy week, John. It is delightful. We had to have it. Unfortunately, they didn't have any stickers.
Yeah, I have one of the void just going.
And sometimes that is a mood, yes. So yeah, that's my list.
Also, 0 ladies, as Kate B points out. Just 0. There aren't even lady servants. This is a dude fest.
I think there was one chambermaid in the previous story. But yeah, it is a Blokey McBlokington good time had by all. Traveling the countryside, running into rich, eligible bachelors. I mean, to be fair, that's not a desire limited to any one particular gender. That could happen. Lots of people could want that then.
Having kind of done
none with names for sure, KDB.
Right. Having done 2 or 3 of these on the run now as well, I am reminded of tiny baby Alasdair, 18 and made entirely of trauma and bad wardrobe choices, sitting in one of his early English lit lectures at university, being just astonished that someone could find a gay subtext in Jekyll and Hyde. And
Darling!
right? And I kind of want to go back in time at some point and just sit the little fella down and go, all right, just go with it. On this, you are so wrong.
When you've learned and left the nest and seen the world, we'll come back to this thought someday.
What do you mean there's a gay subtext to this? There's a gay subtext to basically everything.
And everything. And sometimes it's not even subtext.
Sometimes
it's just text.
And that's the best.
Queer reading of Metamorphosis for your MA.
Oh!
Has your microphone gone weird again,
darling? Oh, for the love of Pete.
How is that?
I think I got a bad connection between the mic and the headset. How are we doing? Am I sounding any better? This is entirely arbitrary. I'm not even brushing it. The fact that no one is talking is leaving me to worry that I may suddenly have been... Ah, there we are. Okay. Hold on, then.
I'm not happy about how... Yeah, it keeps seeming to cut out on you. Yeah, I will have to do even more investigation. I mean, it's not... I wonder, are you hearing any sort of, like, powering down?
I got nothing. I mean, I don't have any sound in my headphones at all. So...
Yeah, interesting.
Hopefully that sounds better. There we are. See, that's the other thing. Every time this happens, I've turned them off, unplugged the mic, plugged it back in, and that's fixed it. That says loose connection or timing issue to me.
I think it's a timing issue more than a loose connection. These are brand new. I mean, I guess we could try switching the headsets. Well, maybe we'll switch headsets next time, and I will be red and you will be blue. Dun, 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 dun. And we'll see if something different happens. And now we're talking about troubleshooting on the stream, and that sounds terribly boring, I'm afraid.
Welcome to the surprise 5th segment.
Right? Exactly.
We do have some shenanigans whatnots for you, though.
We do indeed. I was just, giving us some time. I gotta find them now. Okay, I can close that.
I have them. They are...
You have them?
I do.
Hold on. I have to push the button. Hang on. Here they are. Content warnings for this are discussions of mental health and trauma. This is a lovely, lovely Tumblr post. And we found a couple of, additional ones. But, oh god, yes. This did make me laugh. Shenanigans. Also, please notice the amazing new shenanigans background that Ducky could not prevent herself from creating spontaneously. I'm hoping that we're going to get, all the Pride theme flagged backgrounds for, Pride. That would be amazing.
That would be fantastic. Shall I?
You shall, indeed.
This is from Phantom Rose 96. Peter Lucas as a character became so much funnier to me when I realized his hypnotically pleasant, cordial, kindly, almost sing-song manner of speaking is not some devious quirk or evil cover. It really honestly is just his, I don't actually want to be talking right now, I hope this ends soon, voice. My man Peter Lucas is locked perpetually into his customer service voice. Small talk with your Uber driver who refuses to let you sit in silence voice. I really wish I wasn't here right now button pinned to his shirt, deeply pained, teeth gritted. Oh, my weekend was fine. How was yours? Voice. He literally disappears people forever in order to not have to talk to them. He hired an avatar of a different entity to come explain everything to Martin so he wouldn't have to. He literally exists invisible 99% of the time so no one can talk to him. Absolute genius, icon of the lonely, Peter Lucas. And this is...
Can I do this one?
Yeah, this is also from Phantom Rose 96.
What I expected from Peter Lucas, taking over the Magnus Institute. Oh, in order to serve his master, the lonely, Peter was definitely spinning up devious, malicious plans to intentionally drive wedges between everyone. He will probably manufacture lies to put everyone at each other's throats. Or he will manipulate everyone with some silver-tongued rhetoric and convince them through scheming machinations that they have only themselves to rely upon. His very miasma will douse the Institute into a haze of loneliness and isolation. What I got from Peter Lucas taking over the Magnus Institute.
No talk me. No talk me.
Don't talk I. Hashtag Chrissy listens to TMA. Hashtag I'm on season 4 still. Oh, okay. Guess what? Now I'm going to follow this person on Tumblr so that I can get more updates like this as they get to season 5. No talk him.
No talk me.
I need like a little sailboat sticker that says "No talk me." That's adorable. Oh, we had a couple of other little fun ones that came across, didn't we?
I thought we did. Have we
Yes,
captured
I'm
them?
scrolling through the Discord where I throw all of my brilliant ideas. Oh, this one's for me. Here's another one. This is from Dilly Pickle, DYLLPICCLE, also on Tumblr. Adult life tip. Do not buy a cabbage unless you have one of the following. 1. A recipe that uses one whole cabbage. 2. 200 recipes that use some cabbage. 3. A desire to waste at least half an entire cabbage. 4. A desire to aid your local cabbage merchant who's struggling financially because so much of their crop was destroyed in a series of bizarre incidents involving a 12-year-old martial artist. I love it.
Did you know there are Avatar novels now?
Avatar novels?
On other other avatars from history. They've just done the Avatar Kyoshi one.
Now I want to make coleslaw. But the problem is...
Make cabbages!
You have to make 95 billion gallons of coleslaw to feed 60 people with one cabbage! Did they just used to grow smaller cabbages? How did this used to work? I don't know. I just want like 4 fish tacos with coleslaw, okay?
Because a little while there is this amazing salad that this is slightly bougie for us, that the spa that we go to once a month to recover from everything serves for lunch, and it's amazing. It's diced. It's like julienne cabbage and cheese.
It's kind of like a pecorino style cheese and a really nice, lots of parsley and like a lemony dressing, and it's really crunchy and refreshing.
And, I mean,
if you've been swimming.
And you look at this and your first thought is, the fuck is this shit? Is this kale? This looks like kale. And then you eat it and go, this is the best salad in the world. And so we decided to replicate it a couple of months ago. It went really well, but for the fact that we didn't eat an entire cabbage worth of this stuff, which is like this much.
It's just gigantic.
In one day.
People are like, you need to get some livestock to feed some cabbage to. I'm like, yeah, totally. That's fair. Coleslaw mix here in the UK. You can get lettuce mixed with carrots in it, but you can't get like coleslaw shredded mix of just finely shredded cabbage. Now, the only time I use an entire head of cabbage to make anything is when I make sauerkraut, so that I can just stuff the entire fermenting jar very, very full. You don't even need to use science. You can get vegetables to change size in a generation these days. Nice.
Yeah, Bistrogen makes a very good...
I need bijou cabbage. You know how they made little tiny baby heads, hearts of lettuce? I need little tiny hearts of cabbage. I need something between a Brussels sprout and a cabbage.
Something halfway between Brussels sprout and Chonkzilla.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, Bistrogen makes a very good point. For some people, this was all they had. So a lot of the time, you kind of have to do the whole thing because you're going to be eating this for 3 days.
That or I have to grate a lot of Brussels sprouts. And that sounds like something you make people who misbehaved in school do for detention. You have to grate Brussels sprouts. You've grated Brussels sprouts and omelets before, and you enjoyed it, but that was like
Yes.
one. So okay.
Oh no, you grate a Brussels sprout into a super basic omelet. That works really well because it
Yeah,
gives it
basic.
basic, because it gives it like a really subtle nutty flavor, and there's a little bit of crunch in there as well. So
Nut.
especially if you put some mushrooms and some cheese in, then that's pretty
I
solid.
mean, you could put cheese in just about anything, and it makes it better,
The
in my
grater in this
opinion.
house is washed 3 times a day. Yes.
Make a friend who also needs half a cabbage. Yes, a cabbage-specific friend. I need a cabbage-specific friend.
See, all I'm imagining now is the Tom Cardy song about the guy obsessed with discussing whether you could put bees in a dog and how lonely he is, and then he meets someone else who also wants to talk about that, and then he has a friend.
No. So the next time I make I make fish tacos, I'll have to make sauerkraut at the same time. I have to line it up so like most of the cabbage goes into the sauerkraut and the rest goes into the little tiny bit of coleslaw I want for my like 2 fish tacos.
This is starting to sound like another microtransaction. So I only
Totally.
want half a cabbage, yeah?
Scenario: you have 4 fish tacos and you made a little bit of coleslaw to go on them, but now you have 3/4 of a head of cabbage. Right, exactly. Mini
Cole cabbage. It's a thing.
Okay, so now when we buy a house and I can have a garden, I can time my cabbage harvesting to coincide with my fish taco needs.
Oh, they're adorable. They look suspiciously like
see.
Audrey 2.
They look like what?
Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, we better not sing at me. That would be bad. They do look very pretty, and they look teeny.
There you go.
Late summer
Cool.
cabbages.
Thank you for the tip. Really appreciate that.
Now I just need a garden.
So we've skewed frantically via a brief stop off in the property ladder through common motifs in M.R. James and Magnus Archives to Brassica.
And cowboy hats on my sourdough
and cowboy
starter.
hats on your yeasty lad. Never say we don't cover the ground on this show,
right?
because we do.
Mean, it's just free-flowing nonsense. All nonsense all the time. Right, why don't you tell the lovely people where we are going to be? Hang on, I'm going to go back over here so that I can put up the image of, not in and out, of all the gazillion million places we are going to be this weekend. Once I find it. Where are you? Where's our schedule? Here it is. And now it is big, large, huge. Ta-da. There it is. There's the ArchiveCon schedule.
So ArchiveCon is going to run June 4th to June 5th, which is this very weekend. It is free. The events we're on will be on Twitch, so you will be able to see them when you are able.
You see us.
Yes. And it would be lovely if we could see you. This is, I think, the only convention we're doing in any meaningful way this year. So...
Hawkeye, you are not alone in that. I have a 4-day weekend. My presentation's not till Saturday. I have tons of time to finish it, right? It'll be great.
It'll be great.
But yeah, we will be at 4 different things over the weekend. On Saturday, I'm going to talk about fan artists and IP owners and like what the big deal is with everybody clashing and saying you can't do this or I can do that, yada, yada, yada. Zalia is also running some discussions, so you can go and chat with them. Hawkeye is also doing a presentation, I believe. The full schedule is up at the website. And then wrapping up on Saturday evening, which will be late our time, Alasdair's going to cold read fanfic. This will be fun.
It'll be great.
It will be an enjoyable, hilarious evening. And then the next day on Sunday, we will not be doing our normal 10:30 in the morning stream because you will see us at 10:30 Eastern. We are going to do a panel called Fanception, or Can You Have a Parasocial Relationship with Yourself? Or what happens when all of that real world stuff and the fictional stuff starts to kind of blend and overlap, and how do you find and communicate good boundaries about what's okay and what's not okay. Zalia is going to be running that interview, so that's an experience that Zalia's had as well, so that's going to be a really good conversation. Hey, and Zalia, we should talk about how you're actually going to be on the stream with us. Oops, we should think about that.
You said Chunkzilla and the cat looked up because he thought you were talking to him. Oh,
Aww.
little buddy.
Nice.
In the chat, Hawkeye is saying I'm talking fanfiction tags and why I think we gravitate towards certain stories.
Oh, nice.
I'm really looking forward to that because that seems to me to plug into the thing of more and more you're seeing novels sold basically based on AO3 tropes. For years, Angry Robot have put, if you like these 4 things on the back, then, that sold it. And more I'm starting to see folks go, please read my fantasy novel. It has a progressive magic system, which, and just kind of highlighting a mechanic almost or an element.
Well, it's a classic example of how a fan community innovates where an industry doesn't, and then the industry goes in and, well, if you're being polite, you say adopts, and if you're being accurate, you said co-ops.
Subsume. Let's go with subsume.
That work and that, labor, and then starts using it for marketing, and that's a very complex thing to talk about, isn't it?
That sounds kind of parasocial.
You're just saying buzzwords now. And then I think one of the last events at ArchiveCon is there will be a Q&A with us. Harvests. Yeah, that's a good one. With us. And I think they are taking questions in advance for that. I certainly have a list of them that I'm going to be looking through in advance, because one of them is a good question that I've never been asked before, so I got to come up with a good answer. So.
Oh, which one's that?
My most hilarious legal story.
Oh, you got like 1,000 of them.
I know, but it says the most, which means I have to consider all of them and make a selection based on criteria that I can articulate.
Possibly color-coded.
Well, maybe. I'll have to think about it. There's been a lot of very, very weird things.
Is it parasocial if you go around to someone's house and roll on their carpet and yell at them about their podcast? Are they feeding you chips?
I don't know. It depends. Are they a friend? Is this within the boundaries of your friendship that you roll around on each other's carpets and yell at them about podcasts? Because that sounds kind of like typical socializing behavior in some contexts.
They did feed you crisps. Good.
Well, you're doing better than Sweden. Look, I made a topical joke.
Hey. Also, if you go around to Naomi's house and do that, then you end up as a very, very good villager.
Yeah, you wind up getting cast in minor roles, I'm sure.
Hey, Sweden jokes.
Oh, that thing is so weird. I've been to people in Sweden's houses, and they did feed me. What was up with that? I don't get it.
That whole kind of, here is a small rural community, which perhaps the rural juror comes from, that has slightly weird hospitality traditions, was my childhood. One of my closest friends as a kid lived at the top of a hill, and there was a dirt road from the road halfway up the hill that was an actual road that we walked along to get to his house. It was about 3
Who stops baking a road halfway up a hill?
The Manx.
Why?
Because it was the left turn to a single house.
But...
So anyway, we'd always... I'd go around to his house and hang out. He'd come around my house and hang out. And he always had a bike, and I didn't. And I never thought anything of this. But every time I went to his house, he'd cycle up this very steep slope to his house. And I would arrive 10 minutes later, out of breath, on foot. And like 20 years later, out of nowhere, I got a Facebook message from him going, that was a really dick thing of me to do. I'm really sorry. I was like, maybe? I didn't notice at the time.
I was 12,
I was 12, dude. Cut yourself some slack.
That's one of those you wake up in the middle of the night reflecting on your life and you're like, good heavens, what have I done? Sort of scenarios.
My word, yes.
Yes, apparently it is a thing on Twitter. Somebody made a great joke about how it used to take world wars for, the eccentricities of a culture to permeate into a global joke. Now it just takes an afternoon on Twitter. Well, that's what happens. Apparently the country of Sweden got to be the Twitter character for a whole entire day.
Well, it's been a while since a full country was the main character. On a semi-related note, those of you who've seen it, I hope and love the show, I'm sure have hopefully already seen the news that Our Flag Means Death has a second season.
Yes.
Confirmed as of today.
And HBO, I'm sure, intentionally held off until the 1st of June to announce that the next season is coming. So, classic. I guess, it would be really nice if they would broadcast season 1 here in the UK now.
It's
so
possible
I could watch
it may have that.
What? This is news to me.
I know people.
Yeah, are these the same people who tripped and fell and gave you episodes 1 through 6 of Strange New Worlds that we've watched twice now?
Brilliantly, that was actually the studio.
That was even better, to be
Yes.
honest. Oh, Zoya, yes. Just when Paramount Plus lands in the UK, we are going to have so much to talk about. It's very good.
Strange New Worlds is incredible. It is 6 episodes in, and the worst episode is very good. Seriously. Yeah, Bonnie, that's a really good point. My bro was telling me that stuff has a way lower chance of renewal if there's a likelihood it's been pirated. So the fact they got a season 2 after the entire UK fan base watched it illegally, and more or less with the creator's blessing, is an even bigger deal. That's very much an evolution of the thing which happened a ridiculous amount of years ago when he's a dick, Warren Ellis comic Global Frequency was optioned for a TV show.
And made a pilot. I think that's all it got.
And it was put in turnaround where it was going to be shown at some point, but it hit a it hit a BitTorrent stream because that was how old this was.
Oh gosh.
And it was the most downloaded torrent for TV, I believe, that month. Just a huge audience instantly there. And the network went, yeah, obviously we're not doing that.
Zolly says maybe things would have had a smaller chance of getting pirated if they would stop splitting things between 15,000 streaming services. Well, that, and if you don't give people a legitimate way to engage with content these days, they will engage with it illegally. You choose. Do you want to have money or not? Because if you it's not that people aren't going to watch it, it's whether or not you get paid for people watching it.
Rebecca, I'm very certain it was a mutual friend between us, and they're a very lovely person.
If they didn't want it pirated, they shouldn't have made it about pirates. You can't be upset with the piracy of your pirate show. It does seem rather counterintuitive.
It is a little. We heard you like pirates, so we pirated your show about pirates, isn't it?
If you don't give us a legitimate means, people are going to find illegitimate means.
And I mean, I'm very lucky in that regard because I have a couple of very well-connected press contacts, which means I can usually see stuff which I want to see.
You can usually beg, borrow, and steal copies of things.
And, every now and again I have to pay them in reviewing a thing for them, and that's fine.
But you and I also pay for Netflix, Apple TV.
Shudder.
Huh?
No, actually,
we still have Shudder.
Yeah, we still have Shudder.
Sky. I'm missing. We have all of them. We have freaking all of them. Because I'm television's magpie. I want to be able to. I want to watch a thing, and I want to watch it now. Yes, exactly.
Estrogen, if you haven't seen it, there's a couple of really good documentaries on Shudder. The Found Footage Chronicles, I think, is a great history of found footage as a subgenre. And I think it's Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, which is a 5-hour folk horror documentary, but it's apparently split up into chapters, so you can basically treat it like a TV show. Yeah, all the shit. I've seen a few documentaries on Shudder, and they're always impressive.
We've been on a documentary kick lately. We watched The G Word, which is a great 6-part kind of deep dive into different aspects of the federal government in the U.S. And it's put together by Obama's production company. He's in it.
And hosted by Adam Conover of Adam Ruins Everything.
Yes, it was really enjoyable.
So you have this small, very intense, dapper Ewok of a man just being very enthusiastic and on several occasions being good-naturedly fucked with by professionals. Yep. There's the one where he finds out that the U.S. government runs the GPS system and meets the 6 Air Force nerds in a room that run the GPS system. And they're like, yeah, input a command, Adam, it'll be fine. Oh, is that a 0 or an O? Did you put a space? And gradually there's more and more of them around him, and you can see him going, you motherfuckers.
Dapper Ewok of a man. I live with a buddy who has a group of friends who each pay for one service and share them. That is freaking brilliant. Disney Plus is the other one I forgot. That is a brilliant idea. Find yourself friends and share codes. Yep.
Bonnie, I actually did a little bit of a look into the DVD thing a little
A
while
boy
ago.
look?
Basically, when the Discovery Season 4 issue hit. And as near as I can tell, a lot of stuff is still coming out physically. It's just coming out ridiculously late. Like a physical release now is up to a year after after streaming debut.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's why basically none of the Marvel streaming shows are on DVD yet. And I don't.
Well, that and the whole change of streaming network and
Yeah.
look, it gets really complicated. The rights about who gets to put a movie in a cinema and who gets to put, and then who gets to put it on TV, and then who puts it on streaming, and then who gets to put it on physical release. Those are all
Did I
different rights that get divvied up by different companies at different times. And
did I tell you about the really weird thing that happened with that entire situation in Ted Lasso?
no, but we have to talk about the fact that Willow is coming out again because that was a fun looking trailer.
Oh
I'm
my
very excited.
god. The Willow TV show looks so much fun. Bonnie, please drop the title of the show that your brother is in on Disney Plus in because it's the awesome looking fantasy game show, isn't it?
When is the Willow movie coming out?
The Willow TV show.
Is it a TV show?
It's a TV show.
Okay, hang on. Oh, The Quest.
The Quest.
Nice. It says it says upcoming. It doesn't say when it's releasing, but
So-
can we talk about how well Warwick Davis has aged?
Good lord.
Humana humana. Yes, that was
See you, KB.
delightful. Thank you.
Of course you're biased, and of course he's very good in it. I've met you. I have acted with you. I recognize the family talent.
Acting.
Acting. Yes, there is a Willow TV show with Joanne Whalley in it as, her character, but aged and still badass. I'm surprised I got to live to see the sequels to both Top Gun and Willow. Yeah. Yeah. that is very odd. Bonnie, you are a force of nature in that show. And in everything I've heard you do, your work is extraordinary, and it is an absolute honor to share a script with you.
So sorry, go look up the trailer for the Willow TV show. It's wonderful, and you will be singing dun da da dun dun da da dun dun da da dun dun. It was so wonderful.
I am both looking forward to and not looking forward to how they deal with Val Kilmer.
I really hope they do give him a chance to be in it because I know my understanding from the last time I read anything about him is that he still very much wants to be acting.
Oh, he's in Maverick.
Really?
He's in Maverick as Iceman. He has one scene, and it is probably the best scene in the movie.
Is it non-speaking?
He spends most of it typing on a keyboard, and then they actually tie his limited vocal capability to an emotional beat in the movie, and he kind of visibly steels himself and says an important thing to Maverick.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Totemosh.
It ends with a hug. And it's one of those rare moments where you can see the world's tiniest Scientologist not acting. Also, it is genuinely one of the 2 or 3 jokes in the movie I loved, because the last line he has is, "Now tell me, who's the better pilot?" And Cruz almost corpses, looks at him and goes, "This was a nice moment. Let's not ruin it."
Yeah. Zalia, Willow is kind of like the Mummy. It's one of those bisexual awakening seed crystals for people of certain generations. Very much so.
Even tiny baby Alasdair, who at that point was very much in the, and I'm, before settling on straight, even tiny baby Alasdair looked at early scenes of Mad Martigan and went, "This, yeah, okay."
It's kind of like I have a lot of friends. I had male friends who thought that of the very first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They're like, "I am questioning things. This is making me question things." Yes, exactly.
Willow is one of the movies that accidentally captured what a typical D&D game is like. Yes, absolutely. That whole "it'll be fine. Nothing is fine. Run."
Nothing is fine.
Energy.
We've messed everything up. Everything has gone wrong, and yet we still scraped over the finish line at the very end. Yes.
Also, your occasional reminder that The Mummy is just a fantastic piece of cinema.
You just say the words Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. That moment in the fight on the
I'm
boat
back. Sorry.
where like someone's kind of shooting at Rick and he completely doesn't notice and Evie yanks him out of the way and that kind of what look he gives is Prince Himbo. It really is.
There's a whole Brendan Fraser love TikTok stream, and I am like content stream, and I have it all because I love him to pieces.
I believe we also have the YouTube clip of his 1 minute cameo in the G.I. Joe movie no one talks about, saved for emergency.
What do you mean that no one talks about? It's the favorite part of the movie because he's my favorite character for like 60 seconds. And he doesn't even have a freaking line.
Oh no, he does.
My dad still yells, "I've stolen the baby" when he hugs me. Don't worry, with us as your guards, no harm will befall you. Cuts the pouring rain. Exactly.
Beastrogen, there are 3.
Yes, Beastrogen. G.I. Joe had a movie 3 times, I think.
The animated one is very animated.
It's the 80s. It was by Sunbow Entertainment. I have it on DVD. Let's move on. The second time it was with
Channing Tatum.
Is that the second one or the third one?
The second time is Channing Tatum because the whole thing is that he is being recruited as a Joe playing Duke. And it's very bad.
Yes.
And this is me talking. It's very, very bad.
Third one has The Rock.
Yes.
No, has The Rock and Bruce Willis.
Yes.
As the original Joe. And has a character who they put Lady J's name on and shares none of the same skills or characteristics. But the second movie has it was in that period of time where like Dennis Quaid was in freaking everything.
Yeah, usually for about
Flag,
3 minutes.
I think. And they do the whole, we're going to go in an elevator and use the CGI wall to show you the entire base. And one of those like training montages had Brendan Fraser as Flint, and he had like one line, and they never used him again, and Flint's my favorite character.
If I remember correctly, it's a montage of Duke getting the shit kicked out of him by Snake Eyes and just refusing to stay down. And Brendan Fraser becoming visibly more impressed and pointing out this is absolutely what Joes do. By the way, now might be a very good or very bad time to tell you he is in probably the 2 best episodes of Scrubs, and I maybe can't watch them.
Because they make you weep. Openly.
Yes, he is Dr. Cox's best friend, who is incredibly Brendan Fraser-esque, and he does not make it out of those episodes, and the depiction of grief and the exploration of it in those arrived at a point in my life that was necessary for me to have that, so it is medicinal and at the same time destroys me.
You miss 80s cartoons, huh?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. You and me both. What can I say? I am a child of my generation.
Yep.
Yes, very much so. Exactly, right? Okay, we've crossed...
We've crossed the Rubicon, people.
We've crossed the midnight barrier. Wendy is knowing is very much.
Wendy's in bed somewhere going, go to bed. Oh, wait.
Yes. I know. I hope Wendy's already in bed. That would be good. If Wendy's not in bed, I will be concerned. So, we should wrap this up.
We should.
Hint.
Please join us on Friday when
and Saturday.
I'm getting to Saturday. Friday comes
I'm
first.
Sorry.
When the latest issue of our Hugo-nominated pop culture newsletter, The Full Lit, will go live. This week we're talking about. This week has been subtitled the Yelling at Civics issue.
Yes, Yelling at Civics is what we're doing this week in the Full
Captain
Lit.
America is involved. It's going to be great. Then on Saturday we are at ArchiveCon.
Yes.
And then on Sunday we're at ArchiveCon.
Yes.
And then
on Monday I'm going to sleep all day.
And then on Monday Marguerite's going to sleep all day. And then next Wednesday we'll be back here with the other half of What We Can See from the Hill. I haven't even moved it. That is so weird, Zolia.
It's definitely a timing thing going on with the mic.
It's getting shorter if it is. That's maybe 15 minutes. That's really weird. Okay, just before I completely disappear into the static, how very Lucas of me. Thank you very much for joining us, folks. Bonnie, thank you for dropping the Rogue Maker live listen link in the chat. Please go along, folks. It's such a great show. It's such a good time. And I've been Alasdair.
And I've been Marguerite.
And this has been fun. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you this weekend. Bye.